Hello, everybody. Welcome to Puzzle Jam Global. We're so excited that you're here. We're so excited to be having this event. We have an amazing lineup of speakers for you today. And I want to introduce myself very quickly. I'm Joyce Yu. I am a puzzle fanatic and also the co founder of Puzzworthy, which is a clothing, home goods, and accessories shop for puzzle lovers, puzzle nerds like yourself, which I co founded with Jessa. Some of you may know her as Jigsaw Jessa on Instagram and Facebook. All right, so hope everybody's ready for an incredible day of talks and giveaways and all of that. So I'm just going to imagine the thunderous applause and cheering because obviously I can't hear you all. But our first talk up today is titled Speed Puzzling, a Different Way to Piece Together Fun. And our speaker is a wonderful one for this topic. It is Tammy McLeod. So many of you know her already. She's well known in the puzzling community. She is an avid jigsaw puzzler. She holds 2 Guinness World Records for puzzling. There's Tammy. She is one of the founders of the USA Jigsaw Puzzle Association, and she's competed at the World Jigsaw Puzzle Championship numerous times. She loves all things puzzles, and you can follow her puzzling adventures on her YouTube channels. She has one that she does jointly with Yvonne Foyt, another speed puzzler. It's called Two Puzzle Unicorns. It's an absolute delight. And Tammy's personal Instagram is at Tammy McLeod Puzzler, and you can see the link to her YouTube channel below. So Tammy, we're so excited to have you here. Thanks for being here, and take it away.
Hi everyone. Thank you so much to Puzzle Jam for inviting me here today to speak to you on my current obsession, speed puzzling. All right, let's see if I can get this presentation going. All right. So I think we can start out with a poll. I think they're that way. So to ask who here has ever speed puzzled before? Have you ever competed at a speed puzzling event? All right, wow. Looks like it's quite almost split halfway, but looks like I'm generally in the right place. Thank you all for coming to listen to me about speed puzzling. All right, so let's get started. All right, how fast is fast? Have you ever wondered how quickly a puzzle can be put together? Earlier this month at the 2025 USA Jigsaw Nationals, the champion Kelly Walter put together a 500-piece puzzle by herself in 40 minutes and 34 seconds. Kelly and her partner, Andrea Peng, also topped the pairs event by assembling a 500-piece puzzle in 32 minutes and 19 seconds. And the two of them, along with the third place pair, twin sisters Jean and Kathy Reuter, won the team event by assembling 2 1,000-piece puzzles in 1 hour, 37 minutes, and 53 seconds. So why speed puzzle? I know the idea of racing jigsaw puzzles may horrify some of you. Puzzles are often associated with being calm, meditative, and relaxing. And many of you do hand-cut wooden puzzles, which deserve to be savored like fine wines, not guzzled like beer. But like with any other human activity, people are drawn to mastery, honing one's physical dexterity, visual memory, and spatial reasoning skills can be its own reward. Like, I'm not a strong person physically. I've never excelled at physical or team sports, but mental sports, like speed puzzling, provide me with an avenue to push myself and improve my skills. An analogy I like to use is running. Some people jog to get fresh air or as a form of exercise to stay healthy. Others run to prepare for a 100-meter sprint or 26-mile marathon. Nobody ever says that the other runners are doing it wrong. Everyone has their own goals. To me, jigsaw puzzles are like that. For some, it's a family bonding activity or a meditative hobby to unwind your mind. For others, they're the means through which they improve and challenge themselves in a quantifiable way. Like the rest of you probably, I love jigsaw puzzles, but I'm also a super competitive person. I grew up competing in chess tournaments, computer programming contests, math championships. I even did occasional jigsaw puzzle contests over the years, but I wasn't a very prolific puzzler for most of the time. It wasn't until I stumbled across the documentary Wicker Kittens. and learned about the St. Paul Winter Carnival puzzle contest that things changed in a big way for me. This movie follows a bunch of puzzlers as they prepare to compete in the St. Paul Winter Carnival puzzle contest, but introduces quite a bit about speed puzzling history along the way. It may surprise you to know that speed puzzling actually has a pretty long history in the United States. From 1982 through 1987, the National Jigsaw Puzzle Championship was held in Athens, Ohio. Then for a while, it looked like the speed puzzling scene was pretty quiet. Then in 2010, the St. Paul Winter Carnival started holding a puzzle contest, which has since then been held annually and bills itself as the largest jigsaw puzzle competition in the United States. The 2025 contest had 480 teams of 4. In January 2020, I competed at the St. Paul contest for the first time with the Golden State Puzzlers and won first place in our round. And as they say, the rest is history. From there, I helped start the USA Jigsaw Puzzle Association in May 2020 and ran the 2022 and 2024 national championships. I also competed in the 2022, 2023, and 2024 World Jigsaw Puzzle Championships and currently hold 2 speed puzzling world records. So I have a little experience with speed puzzling. One of the most common questions I get about speed puzzling is, does everyone do the same puzzle? Yes, of course. As a puzzler, you know there are many factors that affect how quickly you can do a puzzle. Is it a busy image? Or are there large distinct areas of color? Or a texture that can be easily sorted out? Is it a grid or random cut? Is the cardboard that was used thick enough to allow chunks of assembled pieces to be moved around? In order to have a fair comparison, everyone needs to compete under the same conditions. Everyone gets the same puzzle. They all use the same size table. There are rules about the number and size of sorting trays you're allowed to use and other tools. For example, you're usually not allowed to bring your own additional lighting or use your phone to zoom in on the box image. Although as I get older and my eyesight gets worse, I think we really need to start a senior division. It's hard to compete against the youngsters with perfect vision. What brand of puzzles are used? The Jigsaw Puzzle World Championship has used Ravensburger puzzles for years now. As a result, many other countries also use Ravensburger for their national championships. It's an international brand that can be easily obtained by speed puzzlers everywhere for practice. The St. Paul Winter Carnival uses Puzzle Twist puzzles because that's a company that's local to them. But I've seen many other brands used by smaller competitions. What size of puzzles are used? For solo competitions, 500-piece puzzles are the most common size. It takes the top competitors about 30 to 60 minutes to complete most 500-piece puzzles. For pairs, 500 to 1,000 pieces are common. And for 4-person teams, 1,000 pieces are most commonly used. So what is the state of speed puzzling today? Well, after my team won our event in January 2020 at St. Paul, we started preparing to attend the World Championship that year. And in March 2020, as we all know, the world changed overnight. Jigsaw puzzles skyrocketed in popularity. My Amazon wish list of dozens of puzzles were all suddenly showing up as sold out. At first I thought maybe there were supply chain issues, but it didn't take long before I realized that people everywhere were now doing jigsaw puzzles, even people who didn't normally puzzle before. Soon after we founded the USA JPA, we started holding puzzle contests over Zoom, and this weird new way of puzzling suddenly turned a solitary hobby into a social one. People were logging on to puzzle against each other in regular contests using puzzles that we mailed out in sealed bags. They were logging on to just puzzle for fun in chat rooms, sometimes with the same puzzle that they ordered online. We'd announced ahead of time the puzzles that we were going to use. After people started gathering in person again, I attended the 2022 World Jigsaw Puzzle Championship in Spain. I'll never forget being at the Millennium Dome in Valladolid. The crowds of puzzlers, the rows of tables, all the different languages. And yet we were all there for the same reason, to restore order to hundreds of little pieces of cardboard. There were 240 individual competitors, 176 pairs, and 77 teams of 4 that year. But by 2024, there were 1,112 individuals, 721 pairs, and 300 teams. You can get all this data on the World Jigsaw Puzzle website, by the way. That's worldjigsawpuzzle.org. The 2025 USA Jigsaw National Championships was just held in Washington, D.C. a few weeks ago. There were 573 individuals, 380 pairs, and 183 teams. That's a lot of speed puzzlers. Since I retired from the USA JPA board last year, I was able to compete for the first time. And it's a lot more fun being on the other side of the event. And the reason for that, besides being able to win, here's my 10th place trophy in the team event, is the community. When I started this speed puzzling journey of mine, there really wasn't much of a community that I could find. Perhaps there was some in St. Paul with a large puzzle competition being there at all, but I struggled to find one here in Southern California that I could participate in. Online groups seemed to be mostly about sharing pictures of completed puzzles. I tried to find local clubs or contests. I finally found a monthly jigsaw contest that was held on Monday nights in a city that was a 2-hour drive away from me. That was, in fact, how I finally found enough people to put together the Golden State Puzzlers, so named because we're all from California, despite living 2 hours apart. But thanks to the online puzzle contests during lockdown, a critical mass of people formed. There were enough people to sustain the community, and yet it was small enough for people to get to know each other. Instagram, as it turned out, was a natural platform to share photos of our puzzles, videos of our puzzle assembling, create chat groups, etc. In the last few years, I've amassed almost 5,000 followers on Instagram just from posting jigsaw puzzle content. My fellow puzzlers and I travel to puzzle events to compete in person, and it always amazes me how strong this community is for being so geographically distributed. I'll see people in person for the first time, and they already feel like old friends because we've interacted so much online. Puzzles bring people together. What does the future of speed puzzling look like? The World Championship will be held again in Spain in September. More and more countries are holding their own national championships. The international network of puzzles is just fantastic. Puzzles, after all, cross language barriers easily. The USA JPA is in the process of helping state organizations get started so they can host their own local events and grow their own speed puzzling community. In the last 5 years, every year, new, faster puzzlers have emerged at competitions as more people learn about this activity and try it out. This is something that you can also try yourself at home. Look up the results of a competition on worldjigsawpuzzle.org and get that puzzle, or find one with times listed on myspeedpuzzling.com. Put it together. To improve, try different things. Dump the pieces out and flip them all. Try sorting, try not sorting. Time yourself and see how you might have fared at the competition. Or, if you're interested in going further, you can sign up for a contest on speedpuzzling.com or visit usajigsaw.org, where you can find out about the next national championship, become a member, and join the monthly virtual puzzle clubs, or look up in-person events that might be happening in your area. And I'm sure every other country has their own equivalent of that as well. A bunch of new puzzle contest types have also emerged recently. Puzzle sprints use smaller piece count puzzles, 100 to 300 pieces. Those are usually done as a more casual contest at large events, for puzzlers to compete against each other during their downtime. Puzzle chess involves two players, or even two pairs, taking turns to put a piece in, and the side that spends less time thinking wins. It's called puzzle chess because they use a chess clock and give each side a set amount of time to spend. If you run out of time, you also lose. Speedrun contests are for puzzlers to practice the same puzzle over and over just to see how fast you can get on a specific puzzle. The most recent speedrun contest by the USA JPA had an individual winning time of 17 minutes and 44 seconds on a 500-piece puzzle. And you can try challenging some of the existing world records. I myself hold the one record for piecing together a 250-piece Guinness World Record Hasbro puzzle in under 10 minutes. The second record was for putting together the 2,000-piece Guinness Ravensburger puzzle with a team of 10 in 49 minutes. Speed puzzling may look like chaos to the outside world, but to me, and to so many others, it's focus, it's community, and it's joy in the purest form. We're not just solving puzzles, we're solving life, one piece at a time. Here's my contact info. Reach out anytime to talk about speed puzzling. And thank you for listening. And now I think I have some time for questions.
Yes, thank you, Tammy, so much. That was amazing. We do have several questions for you. So it looks like the one that most people want to hear are, What tips do you have for getting faster at speed puzzling?
Well, it really depends on what you're already doing, and it depends a lot on the individual picture because every picture needs different techniques. But the first thing I always recommend is to dump all the pieces out of the box and spread them across the table so you can see all the pieces at one time. So that, if you're looking for a particular piece, it's easier to find. You want to be spending as little time as possible flipping and moving pieces around. So you just do it one go, and that usually is one of the biggest things that helps beginning speed puzzlers.
Awesome. Thank you. And then, kind of with that, what to avoid or not do when it comes to speed puzzling?
What to avoid? I I still have one struggle with that. There was this space management. In competitions that sometimes you have to share tables, so you don't have a lot of room. And then I find myself having to move things around, which as mentioned, that takes time. The more time you spend moving pieces around, it's time it's not spent putting pieces together. So it's kind of good to find a way that works for you. Do you sort and flip all the pieces to one side? Do you like to put them as a rainbow around you? Sorting trays are useful for that reason because then you can move them large numbers of pieces that you've already grouped together in one go and give yourself more table room.
Awesome. Thank you. And quite a few people are also curious, how would you get started with speed puzzling as a beginner?
Well, as I mentioned, those resources, a virtual speed puzzle contest is kind of a low stress way to get into the whole feel of it. You one of the many pictures on the screen, so there's a less pressure. Nobody's standing over your shoulder watching you. I think it's a easier way for people to get started because you're doing it at home. If life gets in the way, you can just not participate. But again, there's a lot less stress, and so there's a lot of organizations now that do virtual contests. In the US, speedpuzzling.com is one of them. Speedpuzzling.eu ships them all over the world, primarily to Europe, but I also order them sometimes.
Awesome. Great resources. Some people are curious, what's the hardest puzzle you've done in a competition, if you remember?
I might think it has to be the World's Pairs 2023. It was the final, and we did Boston. I think it's called Boston 2038 or something like that. It was a cartoon puzzle, 1,000 pieces, and it was just full of color, which is really pretty. But in that final, only 9 teams actually finished the entire puzzle. It was very challenging because by the time you got to the end, all the pieces just kind of looked the same because all of them were colorful, and there's no way to tell exactly where in the image they went unless you search the box. And it's pairs, so there's only one box lid. And I realized belatedly that I should have used the technique of shape sorting, which is where you sort the pieces based on whether they have four knobs in and or four holes in, four knobs out, two in, two out, and so you look at the puzzle that's assembled and you try to figure. So you only have a small group of pieces that you need to search that go in a hole. And I normally only do that if the area that's left is all one color. It never occurred to me to do it for a multicolored puzzle because I use the color information to search on the box for a specific location. But it would have helped a lot in that because you just start ignoring the color because they're all the same color.
Yeah. Actually, it kind of reminded me of this year's Nationals teams finals, the second puzzle that I
The
forget what it was,
jungle one.
something jungle. Yeah. That it was just all the colors all over and all the pieces look the same. Yeah.
You're right. I learned from that experience, and I by the last few minutes, I told my team we need to shape sort.
Yeah, definitely. Awesome. Uh, People are curious if you ever stress out on speed puzzling.
I occasionally do, but I'm getting much better at recognizing my mental state and like if I'm in a team event, I communicate it to my team. Like during that jungle puzzle, in fact, halfway through, I told my team, I am stuck. I can't see anything. I have to go into, because I normally puzzle upside down because normally I'm a sorter. I sort by colors and I give the group things to my teammates so they can work. So I don't need to be right side up for that. But working upside down, I couldn't place anything. I told them, I can't see anything. I need to stand right way up. So I went behind them and I started just reaching over them, which is normally a no-no in a team puzzle because you just start getting hands going over your shoulders. But this is the only way I could puzzle, and it calmed me down, and that helped a lot. So communication is very important. But if you're solo, I think it's important to recognize that if you're stressing out, to take a second, take a deep breath, calm yourself, recenter, and then remember sometimes it's a marathon, not a sprint. There's been some puzzles like, in fact, the recent USA prelims. I had the flower shot puzzle, which is just a mess of flowers. And I think halfway through, I also got very tired, and I was like, "This, I gotta keep going. If I don't, I'm the only one working on this puzzle, and I have to calm down and just finish it."
Yeah, speaking of getting tired, we do have a question about how puzzling is hard on the body and especially speed
Mm,
puzzling. So, how do you stay fit or how do you take care of your
yes.
body?
I think I've been thinking about that recently, and posture is very important because a lot of people talk about back pain and neck pain. And I used to be a dancer, so my training is to keep my back very straight. And I do that when speed puzzling too, naturally, because I've just been dancing for so many years. So when I'm standing up, I bend over, but I keep everything straight. And the moment I feel myself getting fatigued, I sit down and I move the pieces closer to me. And I think that may have contributed to never really experiencing chronic back pain, even though I puzzle like, 20, 30 hours a week.
Yeah. I didn't know you were a dancer. I'm just learning this for the first time. So those that don't know, Tammy has lots of hobbies. She's truly, a Jane of all trades. She does all sorts of things. So I'm sure we'll be discovering new things that you can do and new hobbies that you have. I
I'm
love
still
it.
trying to find a way to incorporate dancing and jigsaw puzzles.
Oh, okay. You'll have to keep us updated on that. That'll be an interesting new venture. Okay. So we also have a question. Speed puzzling seems stressful, but people must like it or else they wouldn't do it. So what do you like about speed puzzling?
I said it's mastery because it's something you can practice and get better at. And it's not so much, you don't compete against other people as much as you're competing against yourself. You're competing against your own performance, your own skill set. And I think that's why the community is so welcoming, because people don't see other puzzlers as direct competition. You're not trying to sabotage them or get in their way, like say in a race, like if you're a race car driver, you block people from passing you. But in jigsaw puzzles, you have your own table and you're just working at your own pace, and it's all you. And I think that way you just challenge yourself, and I think that for me pushes me. And yet at the same time, I can be friends with everyone else. Does it kind of make sense? Because it's an eternal thing. Being a competitive person, but not having to sacrifice relationships for it.
Yeah, I love that. That's a really nice, concise way to put that. All right. So I think that's all the questions we had, unless just last call. Anyone else has any questions for Tammy? If you think of it later, maybe if you want to put it in chat and Tammy's here, she can answer you. But that was wonderful, Tammy. Thank you so much. We truly appreciate it. This is not for you, but I do know a few people are asking, is a list of resource links going to be sent out after the event? So we are recording, so the recordings will be available. And then if maybe Janelle or Tara in the chat, if you want to weigh in at all about anything being sent out afterwards, that would be wonderful. But other than that, okay, sounds like we're all set. You thoroughly answered all of our questions. So
Well, thank you
thank
for
you so
having me.
much. Yeah. Take care. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Hi! If you've made it to this part of the video, it means that you have just finished watching a Puzzle Jam Global session. Puzzle Jam Global is brought to you by Puzzle Jam Inc. and our members, and we wanted to thank them as well as our presenters who made this event possible. Now that we're on your puzzle radar, you don't want to miss out on any of the other puzzle events that we have planned. So go to the link in our description and sign up for our newsletter. Our newsletter is about once a month, and you'll be in the know for our great events like Puzzle Jam Global and our in-person event, Puzzle Jam South. And I know that you appreciated this event because you watched the video. So if you would like to support us by becoming a member, sign up on the newsletter to know when the membership opens. Because we couldn't do this without you, our puzzle community. Now take a couple of minutes to go sign up on our newsletter and then go watch another session of Puzzle Jam Global. Bye!